Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a roll call, please.
Wonder Jim here. Highbauer.
Here.
Enthusiastically, I'll add that.
Yes.
Thank
Steffes.
you.
Here.
Gardine.
Here.
Dahan.
Here.
Klein.
Here. Thank you. Please note, as a courtesy to members of the audience and the Board of Education, to silence your cell phone. Public will only be able to speak during public comment as signed up. I have just one more check for public comment forms. All right, we'll get to that in just a bit. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reports agenda. We have our board members' reports tonight. Brett, I'll start with you.
All right, for me, or our family, we're getting to the lacrosse season, and that's started out good in the last couple, but it's boys are having fun. Coach is playing a lot of the players, so that's good. And then my older son is helping coach the freshman baseball team, so it was cool to get to see him out on the field again doing what he loves. And then just a shout out to the parents. Like we had our first, what would it be, 2023 football boosters meeting a couple weeks ago, and we have 22 parents this year that are helping with the football boosters, which is a record number. So that's pretty awesome that have that many of them that are interested in helping out. So,
That's great.
and I'm looking forward to all the awards assemblies and all that coming up here. I know so many of the seniors because of being in between my two boys, so it's cool to start seeing that coming up. So that's what I've got.
Thank you. Joe.
I don't have much other than my stepdaughter's running 7th grade track, and I guess it's just been a blast. So
Yeah.
can't wait to go to the first match this week, tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Track is a great sport. They're always looking for volunteers, so if anyone needs volunteer hours or would like to get out there, it makes the time pass a lot faster. Amy?
Yeah, the nice thing about track, I think Joel Brazil came down from the high school to take over, and definitely there's a lot of energy there. I've heard a lot of good things about track this year too. So let's stick with the middle school. They had solo and ensemble music competitions on Saturday. Lots of amazing music coming out of our middle school. It's very exciting. Lacrosse for the middle school as well. They got snowed out today for their first game, so they're in the gym practicing instead. Parks and Recreation had that meeting, and the city actually did purchase the land south of the cemetery off 34th. That's going to increase the city's footprint by about 6 acres, and that is going to hopefully be used for paved trails, hiking, biking, stuff back there. So that is really great for our students and our citizens in general. I would encourage anyone to come to the Parks and Recs meeting. There's so many cool things going on in the city, and it would be nice to have more volunteers, more voices. We're always looking for things that would help with our parks, and so I would love to see the faces that are here also come to the Parks and Recs meetings, because they're very intimate, like they're around a table. So it's not us up here, and the whole board is just mixed in with people, so it's very nice, and it's easy. So I also got to go with Brent to the facilities meeting. This last week, right? Like it was Tuesday, yeah. Super cool to be with John. So Bob's son, John Wonder Gem, was there, and that was kind of fun to meet him and talk baby stuff and facility stuff. And there's so many great things going on with this. There's so much potential with the 5th, 6th grade building coming up with science and music, and our community ed is going to be housed there, and it's just, there's a lot going on that is so exciting to support our community and our students. As far as high schoolers go, all those award things, I'm starting to get a little verklempt about my son as a senior, and so it's a lot of stuff going on. Also, high school is putting on Shrek next weekend, and if you haven't gotten tickets, you might not get them, because I think they're sold out, almost sold out. But if you can get a single seat, I would encourage you to go get a single seat. They are working so hard. So that's my report.
Awesome, thank you. Bob?
Nothing.
Thank you. Jason?
Yeah, just lacrosse is in full swing, so busy spending a lot of time doing that, running kids around or my youngest around. Got a chance to do the Central Reading Day, which was a lot of fun. Did a young fives, or maybe it's young kindergarten, I'm not sure exactly what they call it anymore. It was one young fives, my kids were there, with Miss Rosen and Miss Chance for kindergarten. And if you tried to keep the attention of like young fives or kindergartners for more than 20 minutes, man, that's a challenge. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Then I got to do second grade, and I can't remember what that teacher's name was, but that was fun to do, and get to the elementary schools. And then, just to go talk a little bit more about Shrek, just a huge thank you to the community. I mean, I was kind of blown away when I went on there to get tickets. And like the Sunday show, it's like the only thing really available is like the last row or last couple, 2-3 rows in the upper balcony. And I know Thursday's show, I was able to get some for the just in front of the sound booth or whatever they call it. So it's really cool to see all the support for that. I've never seen any of our plays, musicals, whatever with that much focus and attention and support from the community. So it's really cool to see. So thank you to the community for that, because that's really cool to see that support for the kids and all their hard work. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Well, I warmed up the kids in Miss Rosen's room for you.
Oh, I appreciate
I was the
that.
first one in. Favorite moment, I read a book called Nothing Rhymes with Orange. And then we went around and we were sharing our favorite fruits. And the last little boy that I asked, what was your favorite fruit? He mumbled something under his breath. And I said, excuse me, what did you say? And he said, I said pizza. I was like, that made my day. Thank you. Pizza is the best fruit. I agree. So I read at Central. That was wonderful. Sad that we missed out on East with the extra weather day, but hopefully we get a chance to go back there. I also spent some time over in Ypsilanti watching our percussion and winds ensembles, our winter percussion and our winter winds. And I'm really excited to say, folks who've been on the board for a couple of years, this is the new program that we approved about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. They took first place in the state in the winds program and third in percussion. So it was really a delight to watch them succeeding and seeing all the other schools that they were competing with. So there's a lot of talent there throughout the state. And once again, Grandville music programs rise above and just show what talent they have. So really appreciate that. And kudos to Eddie and to Ross for that program and for all the other band instructors who build that talent in our students. So that was great. That's all I have. Oh, wait, I have one more thing. Just a shout out for appreciation for teachers and administrators putting together the assessments. It is a very big challenge to put together the SAT, the PSAT, the MSTEP, all the other forms, the WIDA, My Access, all that. So just want to show them our appreciation. It's not fun. It's not something we relish doing. No one's going, yay, assessments, but they give us necessary data to make sure that our students are successful and let us know what we need to do in times when we have gaps in learning. So I really appreciate their work towards that and getting it done efficiently. I know they're still wrapping some things up, but so much work, so much appreciated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A few more things looking ahead. We mentioned Shrek the Musical, April 20th through 23rd. Senior Academic Awards are Monday, May 1st. Board meeting on May 2nd, and also the operational millage takes place on that day. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to contact me. Prom is May 6th. The Vinnies, I don't know if you've ever been to the Vinnies. They're amazing. They're kind of like a Golden Globes of Grandville High School. Our audio visual kids do an outstanding job with so many videos, performances, things that they do, and that's a night to really highlight those. I was asked if I would attend because there's a certain video that we did earlier this year, and they're going to show it, and they just said, could you please be there? I love going to that anyway. It's just amazing.
You think you win an award, Raj?
Probably not, especially if it has
Just
something
wondering,
to do with
Golden Globes, they already know.
Yeah, I know.
Biggest
I
earworm.
think they just invited me just Probably felt sorry for him. But anyway, and then senior assembly is May 22nd. That takes place in Vanderslice Gymnasium at 8 a.m. And that's always such a phenomenal culminating experience for our seniors. So looking forward to that. Graduation, of course, May 25th at Res Life, 7 p.m. And then the last day of school, June 2nd. So a lot of great things happen there. Facilities, had a chance to visit our new middle school last Friday. They were putting the wood floor in, the gymnasium. If you have never seen somebody put a wood floor in, that is a pretty cool process. There's several people involved and just a really neat thing. So that facility is really coming along. It's going to be an amazing facility and really looking forward to getting people there. Speaking of that, we have a ribbon cutting ceremony that we're planning for August 15th for the community. So there'll be more to come on that as well in regards to time, and people will have a chance to visit that wonderful facility. Amazing Shake. You had a chance to see West Elementary demonstrate the Amazing Shake. Well, today was the preliminary round. Several of us were there today along with several business people to be there for our kids as they came up and did the Amazing Shake. And our kids did a fine job. They did just a great job. So there is another round coming up pretty soon. But just really neat to see our kids involved in something that involves, introducing yourself, obviously shaking hands, carrying on a conversation, good eye contact, and everything that goes with presenting yourself professionally and appropriately. So just a great event. So kudos to West Elementary for doing that. And that is all I have.
Awesome, thank you. We don't have any old business. Moving on to consent action agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support?
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Moving on to discussion items. We have the reading one of Neola Springboard policy updates.
Yes, thank you. So as you know, provided this electronically for you so you could take a look at it. This is our first, what's called our first reading. I've given you a summary here. Not a lot of board policies this time, but a few revisions that we're looking at. The first one, policy 2623, deals with student assessment, and really just some terminology there. Everything was pretty much there, but they reflect MDE and State Board of Ed rules regarding student assessment. And they had some language in there that we needed to make sure that we added. So that was policy 2623. So you get a chance, take a look at that, of course. Policy 6325, procurement, federal grants and funds. There was a minor adjustment to 6325 to recognize that not all federal grant contracts are subject to the Davis-Bacon Act. So they wanted to make sure that was involved in there. And the revisions there, again, they reflect the current Edgar provisions. Edgar being something that Heather knows and deals with a lot. It's a set of standards for accounting and for business.
Can we just, real quick?
Sure.
Give a 5-word definition of Davis-Bacon? 5 words.
5 words.
Remember when you were interviewing and I kept asking for real short?
Yeah, I do remember it.
Yeah.
Remember that.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, Davis-Bacon deals with federally funded contracts that are more than $2,000.
It doesn't have to do with wage.
Prevailing wage.
Yes, there's a portion in there for
Prevailing wage, yes. You said 5 words, I tried.
I know you did.
I'm gonna go on a roll.
That's why I looked to Heather. I
Yeah.
just bypassed that
Yeah.
option for you.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, good enough? No?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
No, that's enough.
Thanks. Policy 7540.02, web accessibility. The main thing in here is making sure that our website allows for people with access that may have a disability, and it has certain standards, and with those standards, you have to make sure that that how you provide the information on your site meets a certain standard, so they're able to easily access it. That's probably the best way to explain it. With time going on, they are expecting us to have a higher standard than we've had in the past, and we already do. That's the good news. But what this revision is for is to make sure that districts have that.
So this, in my mind, is tied to the issue many school districts in Michigan were dealing with about 3-4 years ago, where there was an organization whose sole intent was to sue based on accessibility of information based across ADA on their sites.
Yes.
Is that what this sort of helps push districts in that direction?
It does. It pushes districts to make sure those standards are in place. And like I said, time has gone on, so they've raised that standard, and we are already meeting that standard, which is good news.
Yeah.
You
Jill's
just
been
answered my
diligent.
next question. Very
Jill's
good.
been diligent on that for over 10 years.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Cover all of it.
you bet. Moving along, policy 8390, animals on district property. There were many people that did not have a policy on this, and many people asked for a revised policy if they did have one, because they wanted to define what therapy animals are, comfort animals are, and standards should they be at school. Again, we already had this. This really isn't, other than some language, not a major revision at all for us, other than looking at the definitions and making sure the definitions did line up. So yeah, again, not a lot there, just a few language changes for us. I did, within this policy, you can see in places, again, the green is potential additions if you didn't have it. The red means you take it out, and there are places in there that aren't green or red that are, I put our current information in as well, so that you didn't have to go back and say, now what does our policy say compared to this? So if you see my chicken scratch, you know
Yep.
that's already in our policy. And then the last one, policy 8400, school safety information, just updated again to reflect current state law, best practices regarding school safety. And again, mainly for us in this one are some language things. Threat assessment plans are in there. We already have threat assessment plans, so and we've already addressed that in the past, but some people did not, so that's why thus the revision is to make sure that people are staying up on threat assessment plans. Any questions about these? Again, short
No,
group this time.
they're easy ones.
Yeah,
Reg.
very easy.
All right, thank you much. All right, we're moving to public comment. Folks who are going to be called up for public comment will have 5 minutes to address the board. Mr. Hybauer will keep track of time over here on his device, and will give a 1-minute warning. All of the policies regarding public comment are listed on the back of the public comment form. Please remember when you're up here that you're addressing the board and audience. Please allow our guest speakers to do so without interruption. If you're concerned that any of your comments during public comment might violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, please consult your legal counsel before speaking. That being said, our first person up is Paul Simons, followed by Brenda Nordstrom.
Thank you. I'm a horrible public speaker, so I'll do my best to stumble through
No
this here.
worries. No judgment.
Basically, I'm just coming out tonight as a local business person to support the millage and just let people know that as a business person, I support that. I've got 2 kids who've gone to the Grandville schools, and we sought Grandville schools out as school of choice. Wyoming schools a few years back went south in the quality of what was going on over there, so we started looking for other schools. We looked at Byron Center. We ended up going against what I really wanted to do to a charter school. Turned out great. We enjoyed it and everything, but for high school, we were looking for something else. And so my oldest son went out to the Aviation Academy, which was okay. It was fun and interesting, but I don't know that the schooling was exactly the best ever. So my daughter and my younger son both have gone to Grandville, and we've loved it. It's been great. I think everything's gone really well through COVID and everything else. My daughter graduated in 2020, so that was a good time, as everybody knows. Anyway, I guess that's who I am, but then I'm also a business person. I manage one of the larger pieces of property in district, so the Best Buy Home Depot Center. There I manage that. I also own the Big Boy restaurant up there, which I recently sold, so I guess I don't own it anymore. And then I've got 2 other businesses that operate in Grandville, a landscaping company and a commercial cleaning company. So just as a business guy and having a bunch of businesses, I think for me it's important that we have schools that are good because it helps attract people who, have families and support our businesses. And I think that's really kind of what helps the community be good, is having families and people that are supporting all the businesses that then support the community. So funding the schools, I think, is really important, and I think we shouldn't be trying to defund them, lower the funding for them, or even if we need a tax increase the amount that we're funding them. Everything else is going up. Why wouldn't the taxes go up? It just seems natural. A loaf of bread doesn't cost what it cost 2 years ago, and I can't imagine the taxes and paying for school items are going to cost less either. So anyway, I guess I've heard that there's been some pushback on the millage and pushback on potentially if it needed to go up a little bit. So just in having heard that, I wanted to come out and say, as a business person, I just was the president of the Grandville Jenison Chamber of Commerce. I know lots of other business people. Everybody I know that I've spoken to about it is in support of it. And so just wanted to pass that along so that you guys heard that from the community as well. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Next up, Brenda Nordstrom, followed by Ruth Rondon.
My name is Dr. Brenda Nordstrom, and my address is on file. I'm here today to discuss the horrendous crime of human trafficking. I am the Director of Community Outreach and Education for Centurions, Michigan, which is a nonprofit organization with a mission to educate the community on human trafficking. I'm also a nurse educator, and prior to teaching nursing, I taught middle school health. For the past 6 years, I've been traveling across the state, educating professionals on how to identify and respond to trafficked persons. However, the focus really should be on our youth with the goal of preventing trafficking from ever occurring. By the end of 2020, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reported a 97.5 increase in online enticement of our youth. And by the end of 2021, the reports of sextortion more than doubled. These are methods the human traffickers are now using to exploit our children. Traffickers do not follow girls through Walmart or follow them through the mall. with the intent to abduct them. Instead, they groom our children through online gaming sites and social media. They develop relationships with them and entice our youth to send sexually explicit photos, which ultimately leads to the sextortion. This is occurring more and more frequently today, partially due to students having received tablets and laptops for educational purposes at the start of the COVID pandemic. With all kinds of good intentions, we sent students home with the very tools that traffickers use to violate and victimize children and teens. How do we know this to be true? Nationally, through data collected through organizations such as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, locally through stories of victims that are now receiving services. One organization in Muskegon County, the Hope Project, is providing services to at least one girl in each of the school systems in Muskegon County. The youngest was just 11 years old when she was finally able to walk away from her trafficker. In Newaygo County, 3 young ladies from Grant Public Schools were identified as being trafficked just this school year. Grant was a pilot site for a new K-12 curriculum developed by A21. A21 is a nonprofit that is one of the largest organizations in the world solely fighting human trafficking. The 3 young ladies I mentioned were able to identify that they were being trafficked because of this curriculum. One immediately left her classroom and spoke to the resource officer in the school. The situation quickly escalated to the FBI, and the trafficker was met at the Grand Rapids Airport when he arrived to meet the girl in person. Without education on human trafficking prevention, these 3 young ladies from Grant would still be victims today. I have reviewed many curriculums, but the A21 K-12 curriculum is by far the best I've seen. It is 4 lessons, just 1 hour each, taught each year. The lessons focus on rights and responsibilities, character development, relationship boundaries, and digital safety. Each lesson is developmentally and age-appropriate instruction. The goal of the education is to prevent human trafficking, protect our students, and offer pathways of engagement to be part of the solution to end this injustice. This curriculum is standards-based and aligned to Michigan's health, social studies, and ESL standards. It is designed to be facilitator and student-friendly, as well as culturally and linguistically sensitive. The lessons are based on Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence and incorporates a multidisciplinary response. It is also important to know that the curriculum is free. The only requirement is that those teaching the lessons, whether a faculty or community member, be trained by an A21 authorized trainer. We often hear our children are our future. If that is true, then why wouldn't we do everything possible to prevent this escalating, heinous victimization of our children? I provided some information about A21 along with my contact information. I strongly encourage you to review and consider A21 K-12 Human Trafficking Education Curriculum. If you have any questions or would like more information about the curriculum, please contact me. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Ruth Rondon, followed by Michelle Thomas.
My name is Ruth Rondon, excuse me, and my address is on file. I'm sure every one of us here is concerned about the safety of our students. Schools can conduct regular fire, lockdown, and disaster drills throughout the year. But what about safety from predators and traffickers? I'm a human trafficking survivor. I'm not going to tell you my whole story, but I do want to give you some background. I worked as a deputy clerk for Kent County, and I retired in 2015 after 23 years of employment. Before all that, though, I was sex trafficked and drug addicted for 18 years. I do not claim to be a victim 100% of the time. I became a hardcore drug addict after I was targeted by traffickers. Nobody can live that kind of life sober. I lived on the streets for 18 years. By the grace of God, I survived it all. My story is not unique. There were several factors that turned it all around for me. Number one was the support I got from my family. And number 2 was the willingness that I had to learn everything I could about why and how I fell prey to traffickers. What kept me trapped for so long, and how and why I survived it all. I learned a lot. One reason I fell prey to traffickers is because no one knew the signs when I was growing up. Because I survived, I'm devoting my time and passion combating this heinous crime. In 2015, I was appointed by Governor Snyder to serve on the Michigan Human Trafficking Health Advisory Board. I served on this board until my term expired in December of 2020. In 2017, I helped create 2 online human trafficking training programs, one for healthcare and one for law enforcement. I've helped other professionals with their human trafficking projects as well. In January of 2020, I gave my testimony to the legislatures at the state capitol. Now I'm devoting my time and my attention to our youth. I have firsthand knowledge of the tactics that predators and traffickers use. I have seen more corruption and evil than any average person will ever see. I don't ever want what happened to me to ever happen to anyone else. I fear for our children because they are so vulnerable. And most of the adults in their lives have no idea how to intervene or how to prevent. I have spent many years researching curriculums designed to help students learn about human trafficking with the goal of preventing them from falling prey. But most of them were either too expensive or they were created for a specific culture, age, or profession. During this search, I discovered A21, which is one of the largest organizations in the world that is solely fighting human trafficking at a local, domestic, and international level. Since it started in 2008, A21 has expanded to provide services to 19 locations in 14 countries. A21 empowers all ages, cultures, and professions. In the fall of 2022, A21 launched a new K-12 human trafficking curriculum at Grant Public Schools, a small rural school in Newaygo County, being one of their pilot schools. As a direct result of using this curriculum, 3 girls are now free from being trafficked. A21 has a very successful track record with their educational programs. And this new K-12 curriculum is exceptional as evidenced by local results.
1 minute.
I personally endorse this curriculum and I encourage you to research it for yourselves. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for sharing your story. Michelle Thomas, followed by Ann McCarthy.
It's hard to follow Ruth. I'm just so thankful that she's been showing up and speaking her truth, and I hope we give her curriculum some consideration. I have a teenage daughter and a teenage son. It's not gender specific. This could happen across the board, so I appreciate her time. I'm here to talk about bathrooms again, though, as you're used to seeing my face, but I'll start with spring break. What a great baseball week the boys had down there. I know they had to kind of punt from Fort Myers after the hurricane and things changed, but the coaches did a great job of making it fun, having some successful training, scrimmaging, some West Michigan schools. They just really did a great job, and I'm thankful that the coaches give so much of their personal time to make that happen for the boys. I also promised Coach Anderson last year that I would put in a plug for possibly a net or some type of screening around the retention pond. I bought a box of baseballs a few weeks ago, a donut-sized box. Costs over $100 these days. That many go in that pond every practice, every scrimmage, everything. If they drained that retention pond, you would find thousands of baseballs. Maybe some type of temporary mesh screening or something that catches some of those foul balls would be really cost-effective, actually, over the season. That aside, I'm still here to talk to bathrooms. Being in Florida with half of Grandville, we get to have a lot of conversations. Bathrooms are not just a concern for my family, they are a concern across many of the parents. My kids were talking amongst themselves about which the middle school, how many minutes between classes they each have, and oh, that's plenty of time, and we chat with our friends, and this is what they do in between. I'm like, well, is that enough time to go to the bathroom? And they, eye roll, "Ugh, Mom, nobody goes to the bathroom in between classes unless you're there to smoke, use drugs, or vape." I'm like, well, when do you use the bathroom? Well, we go during class. So it just clicks with me. Here we are with struggling test scores, struggling grades, academics are not soaring, and the kids have to use their teaching time to go to the bathroom because they don't feel comfortable or they don't feel safe to go in between classes. This is now affecting learning. It's not just a health department or a hygiene. This is an academic problem if kids don't feel that they can do that in between class. I mean, obviously there's always going to be instances where kids have to leave class, but this is a regular thing across all students, and this is how they're using their class time because they don't feel comfortable in between classes. And I don't think that's acceptable. I know it must be becoming quite a problem because my daughter said in the middle school, if they have 5 bathrooms in one class through the year, they'll get a detention. My children have never had a discipline problem ever from K up until now, and if they get a detention for having to go to the bathroom because they don't feel safe, I can tell you they will not be serving it. That's unacceptable that they're going to get punished for that. I know it shouldn't be a routine problem, but if there isn't a safe alternative, they really don't have a lot of choices in that. So I am going to continue to implore you to fix the bathroom situation so that they can not only become open, but that they can become safe and comfortable for all students to use. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, our final speaker for the evening, Ann McCarthy.
Good evening. I'm Ann McCarthy. I live on Woodstream Drive in Walker in the Grandville district, and I'm here tonight overall to talk in favor of the millage passing in early May. So our story is my husband and I moved to Grand Rapids 15 years ago from out of state. I grew up here but had lived away for a decade, and we were starting a family and we wanted to come back. We looked all over Grand Rapids, north, south, east, west. We weren't tied to any location. We looked at every district, and we ended up in Grandville district because we liked the area. And even at that time, I wasn't exactly committed to Grandville schools. I went to private schools growing up, and part of me, that was in the back of my head. But over the first 5 years of my oldest child's life, I really came to decide on Grandville because of the opportunity that Grandville would provide. I didn't know what my child would be like, what their interests would be, what their needs would be, and I felt that Grandville would be able to meet my child no matter where they were, in academically, socioemotionally, athletically, everything. And I can say I'm so happy with Grandville Public Schools. My kids have been involved in activities that I had never even imagined. Band, so much band. I have 3 kids in band, marching band, concert band, jazz band. The band is just so wonderful, I can't say enough good things about them. But also cross country, powerlifting, rugby, Science Olympiad, which I want to give a shout out to because Science Olympiad is growing in the number of kids and how well they perform. And then robotics, and we all know how wonderful our robotics program is. So, and over the course of our time in schools, we're just exposing our lives to people who go to all different schools. Forest Hills, East Grand Rapids, Rockford, private schools, Catholic, Christian, charter schools, everything. And it has become clear to me that parents these days have unlimited choices of where to send their kids to school. They are not committed. Like when we grew up, you went to your local public school or maybe to the local Catholic school. But the choices are endless. And parents choose schools based not only on academics, but the opportunities and extracurriculars that those schools provide. And so it's really, you have to be competitive to keep people in your district. And that's why I think this millage is so important for it to pass. Strong schools equals strong communities. They will bring people in. We'll get kids coming in from other districts. And when we have strong communities, we'll have strong businesses. Grandville does such a great job. Grandville schools, they partner so well with the businesses like the Art and Chocolate Walk and so many other activities, sponsorships. It really is great. And I think with the passing of this millage, that bond will only strengthen. So I am in favor of the millage. I'm speaking to everybody about it. I can't even imagine losing $15 million and maintaining all the opportunities we have right now. And then since I think I have some extra time, I want to just do one little plug on a different topic. I was here a few meetings ago, and we were talking about, or you guys were talking about teacher burnout. And one of the board members questioned, how can a teacher not bring their political views into the classroom? Like, if they feel strongly on topic, how can they keep that back from the students? And the answer at that time, I wrote it down with exclamation points. It's social emotional learning. It's having a high emotional IQ
1 minute.
where you can put your own feelings aside and interact with the students in a professional way. And that's why social emotional learning is so important to start at the youngest ages and carry it all the way through. So thank you.
Thank you for your time. That concludes our public comment section for the evening. We are going to be moving into closed session for the purpose of conducting the superintendent's self-evaluation for OMA Section 8A. So at this time, we'll have to thank you all for being here and ask you to exit the building. Thank you so much.
We have to
Yeah.
motion and move.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Yeah, in favor? No. Okay, we'll take a brief adjournment.
Let's, Nick, right in there, because it's easier for me to show you the visual.